This is a brief video showing how to simplify fractions. Well, in order to do that, let's just identify three key terms which you need to know the definitions of. So simplify in this context just means to place something in a more manageable way. So for example, 3 over 6 is the same as 1 over 2. It's easier to arrange 1 out of 2 items than to arrange 3 out of 6 items. So for instance, 500 over 1,000 is just simply the same as a half. A half is much more manageable than 500 over 1,000, a factor. So let's give an example. 4 is a factor of 12 because there is an integer which multiplies 4 to get to 12. So an integer is a whole number, and that integer is 3. Okay, we can also think as a factor as 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3, and factors divide numbers leaving no remainder. Okay, so the greatest common factor, well, let's have a look at an example. So let's do the greatest common factor of 12 and 15. Well, let's list the factors of 12. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Let's list the factors of 15. We've got 1, 3, 5, and 15 itself. All these numbers divide into 15, leaving no remainder. So we just select the greatest common factor, which happens to be 3. And that helps us when we are simplifying 12 over 15. We divide by 3 to get 4 over 5. Okay, so I'm going to give you one to do. Let's find the greatest common factor of 12 and 30. So pause the video and off you go. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. Let's list the factors of 12 and the factors of 30. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. For 30, we have 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. And the largest common ones are 6. And that helps us in simplifying this because we just divide by the greatest common factor, which is 2 over 5. Okay, so let's look at two methods. Okay, so method 1 says try to divide both top and bottom of the fraction by 2, 3, 5, 7 until we can't go any further. Okay, so this is using the greatest common factor method, but it's breaking it down into smaller chunks. So for instance, let's take our example of 12 over 30. We can divide by 2 to get 6 over 15. Then we can divide by 3 to get 2 over 5. Now if we multiply 2 and 3 together, we get 6, which is our greatest common factor. So we can break down the fraction to make it a little bit more manageable. But the aim is always to divide by the greatest common factor. Now let's do some examples. Okay, so you can simplify this using the two methods. let's do 25 over 100, and let's do 36 over 72. Okay, so try and divide only whole numbers using method 1, and method 2 is using the greatest common factor. Pause the video and off you go. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. So we can divide by 5 to get 3 over 4. We can't go any further. Okay, the only common factor between 3 and 4 is 1. Okay, so we can divide by 2 here to get 20 over 25. Then we can divide by 5 to get 4 over 5. And if we multiply 2 times 5, that gives 10. So 10 is the greatest common factor of 40 and 50. Okay, so this time we are dividing straight away by the greatest common factor. Here's 25 to give 1, 25 over 4. Greatest common factor here is 36 to give 1 over 2. Okay, so I just want to explain a little bit about this simplification and show that you can do it using method 1. Okay, so we've got 36 over 72, and you recommended to divide by 2, 3, 5, and 7. Let's divide by 2 first. We're going to get 18 over 36. We can divide by 2 again to get 9 over 18. Now we can divide by 3 to get 3 over 9 and divide by 3 again. Now, you can pause the video and answer this question. How can we use this to find the greatest common factor? So pause the video and have a think about that. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. So the question was, how do we use method 1 working to find the greatest common factor of 36 and 72? We can simply multiply together the divisors. 2 2s are 4, 3 times 4 is 12, and 3 times 12 is 36. Exactly what we divided by here. Okay, so I'm going to give you some problems to do, and you already have the greatest common factor here. Okay, so let's give you an example. So we found the greatest common factor of 5 and 15. It is 5, so we just needed to divide. So 5 times 5, 5 divided by 5 is 1, 15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay, so pause the video and off you go on these questions. Okay, hopefully you've done these now, so I would like you to mark your work and give yourself a score out of 10. I'm going to mark my own work. Done very well. I've got 10 out of 10. Let's look at some more complicated problems. Now, this time we need to divide by the highest common factor straight away. Now, in the previous ones, we had the greatest common divisor. Now, on these problems, you need to find the greatest common divisor. Now, let me just put this in the... Okay, just a quick note. The greatest common factor and highest common factor mean the same thing. Greatest and highest are synonyms. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick example for you. The standard is very simplest understanding of these fractions which you need. If you can do the accelerating, that's great, but you must complete questions 1 to 15. So I'm going to do question 11. I'm going to divide straight away by the highest common factor. The highest common factor of 6 and 14 is 2, and I'm going to get 3 over 7. Pause the video and off you go. Okay, so hopefully you've done that now. I'm going to put the solutions and you can mark your work. Okay, so here you can give yourself a mark out of 15. I'll give myself 15 out of 15. Pretty well. And here we've got 8 questions, and you can give yourself a mark out of 8. I did very well here. Okay, so hopefully your understanding of simplifying fractions is better. It's worth noting that when we simplify a fraction, we produce equivalent fractions, which is what we did in the previous video.